Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Oddly, in any society in human history, even until today, even if someone's atheist, there is a culture or belief in ghosts, apparitions, beings we can't see. But in Islam, we know these to be jinn. So the question then becomes, what are the jinn? We believe them to be made from a smokeless flame, a form of energy. They can move extremely fast and aren't limited to the same kinds of physical barriers that we are. They can see us but not us them, and they have the same purpose as humans. They have genders, mates, cultures, senses like us, and they can even shapeshift, sometimes even as animals or humans. What is halal or permissible for them to eat is what has had the name of Allah SWT set upon it. So if we're eating chicken or something and we say Bismillah, or in the name of Allah, then they eat from those leftovers. There are Muslim, Jewish, pagan, and Christian jinn as well. And actually, they fast and have iftar too. Only the shayateen or evil jinn are chained up during our blessed month of Ramadan. We can't see them now, but we will be able to see them in the afterlife. Sadly though, the jinn have many evil among them because they have more physical abilities than us. And when you pair power with desire, then you have that result. After all, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But hold on a second. Let's not talk down about humans. I mean, they have not been blessed with the level of intelligence, language, and eloquence that we have. That's why they learn our languages and follow in kind with our prophets alayhi wassalatu wassalam. Next, just like the angels, you also have categories of the jinn. Firstly, you have the afrit, a very powerful category of jinn. You have the shayateen, the evil jinn that I was talking about. You have the awamir, the ones that take up residence in a home. There is a jinn that will constantly whisper evil to us. And yes, it's very similar to the concept of a devil over your shoulder. We're actually never supposed to seek help from them or commune with them for their abilities. That's why it is forbidden to go to fortune tellers or tarot card readers as Muslims, because while most of them are fake, legitimate ones may be doing deals with the jinn. Jinn do not have insight into the future, but they may be able to relay small bits of secrets because they have heightened senses and can overhear things from the land of the unseen that we can't. But its original message may be fractured and laced in lies because jinn are restricted to roaming only this universe. And what's concerning is that this isn't new. In different parts of the world or history, you'll find time and again people trying to commune with demons, the devil, or, as we believe, jinn. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Burning Man festival, where it's a seemingly innocent music festival, but if you look at its roots, they are literally on the last day of the festival burning a huge effigy, a fire effigy. And so some, I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but some have talked about how this may have at one point been a satanic ritual. I remember when I was in Tulum in Mexico, I was talking to a local and he was saying, hey, you make sure you're very respectful of them because they might put a curse on you. And what's really eerie is that there you can do this really touristy thing called a steam bath, but it's a spiritual steam bath where they have a shaman chanting and throwing these colored, rocks and things like that in a ritual, praying for your success and things like that. And we as Muslims, we know, hey, don't mess around with that stuff because we don't know who's communing with what or what practice is rooted in what ritual or what have you. So on that note, I am sure that all of us have at some point heard of some secret societies and cults dedicated to communing with spirits. It may very well be that all of these people are doing deals with the jinn, and this takes you out of the fold of Islam, which leads me to a very harrowing point. It is possible that you can get possessed by a jinn. And I'd like to make a clear distinction between Islam and Christianity for a second. We do not adopt any concept of a demon, but if you take a look at the characteristics of a jinn, you can begin to see where the concept of a jinn has been lost in translation and is made into a demon. Now, the easiest way to get possessed is by overtly disobeying Allah SWT, and leaving out the prayer is a big one because we believe our prayer is a protection for us. Also, constantly committing major sins without seeking forgiveness. I remember hearing from a Raqi or somebody who does exorcisms, he was mentioning that people who get possessed are typically those who are very far away from the deen or are drowning in major sins to begin with. And so, if we believe in possession, we also do believe in ruqyah or exorcisms. Interestingly, you'll hear about how some people who are seeking out help through the ruqyah or exorcism, that will actually be one of the first times that they'll even be entering the masjid. So if you're already doing your obligations, just affirm your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek His refuge. You can also read the last 3 qul's or chapters in the Quran into your hands and blow them and wipe them all over your body for protection when you wake up and before you sleep. There is the hadith where if you hear the crying of a rooster, then ask for the mercy of Allah because angels are near. And if you hear the braying of a donkey or barking of a dog, then ask for protection because jinn are near. If you want to have all of the shayateen leave your home and you want the protection of the angels, then you need to read Surah Al-Baqarah, the 2nd chapter of the Quran, in your home. Now, I only say all of this for educational purposes. This isn't to get any of you scared, because you know what? If you're scared about all of the jinn inhabiting the space around us, then you should be very happy, because for every jinn there are exponentially more angels. There are so many angels, in fact, that the heavens are shaking, and you can't stick your hand out except that you will find an angel there. And like I said before, angels got our back. And they're insanely powerful, whether they're among the smaller ranks, as big as mountains, or like Jibreel alayhi salam, who's so big that our senses can't even process it, especially if you're staying in your lane and doing what you're supposed to do. Are you reciting dhikr? Are you glorifying Allah? Angels right there. Are you reciting the Quran? Angels right there. At the masjid? Are you at a halaqah? Are you visiting somebody? Angels, angels, angels. Now, I know that I've been primarily speaking about things that may seem superstitious or highly intangible and almost unimaginable to some, which makes it very hard to believe, but I have a couple of points I'd like to make. We've established earlier that dogs are one of the few animals that can see jinn. Well, you have the electromagnetic spectrum. Humans can only see visible light. What do we know about dogs? They can see things that we can't. Also, what are the three states of matter? Solid, liquid, and gas. But there's a fourth, plasma. We've established that jinn are a form of energy. They travel extremely fast and can shapeshift, much like the characteristics of plasma. And we also know that an extremely hot fire generates plasma. I'm not saying any of this is legit at all or that jinn are definitively made from plasma, but I'm simply illustrating the point from a scientific perspective regarding why and how we aren't able to perceive everything around us. We know that roosters have the ability to see angels, and when do we know that they scream? At first light. What are angels made of? Light. Hypocritically, if you microwave your food, it doesn't look like much is going on, but you know intrinsically that it's getting zapped by microwaves. If you go to Florida and you get sunburn, you didn't see anything happen, but you intrinsically know that you were getting roasted by ultraviolet rays. You have service on your cell phone and don't physically see anything going on, but you intrinsically know that there are radio waves carrying the signal. Now, you have the jinn, which show the characteristics of an acute form of energy, but people want to say, you know what, that's superstitious. So I ask you, why is it that we can't trust that there are limits to what we can see and perceive when Allah SWT tells us about the land of the unseen? But when it comes to science, we don't even question it. Where do our beliefs lie?